And to access the satellite, they built this staircase, this metal staircase. But then they took the satellite down and they left the staircase. So people were hiking up the staircase and we're calling it the stairway to heaven. But now it's all rusted and corroded. It's unsafe, to hike. So they have it closed. Okay? But now the friends of the stairway to heaven want to keep it up, but they don't want to maintain it. So the state wanted to take it down. It's in the courts right now. See if they're going to keep it up. If you heard about it, that's where it's at. Then the haiku valley. So being that we're heading out towards a cultural center, a lot of our visitors, they believe that we have tribes here. Okay? So now, as far as Polynesia, again, geologists have segregated some of the different islands within the South Pacific into 3 different groups. And these are your Polynesians, the Melanesians, and the Micronesians. So now, does everyone know what the word poly means in the word Polynesia? Many, or multiple, So Polynesia consists of 7 different South Pacific islands. And these are the islands of Hawaii, Tahiti, Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, the Maoris of New Zealand, Marquesas, and Easter Island, which is often referred to as Rapa Nui. But these are the 7 islands that consist of Polynesia. So very often you'll find geologists referring to the Polynesian Triangle. So now this triangle consists of the Hawaiian Islands. From the Hawaiian Islands, it goes down towards New Zealand. And then from New Zealand, it goes across over to Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. And then from Rapa Nui, it goes back up towards the Hawaiian Islands. The islands within this triangle all became part of Polynesia. So now Hawaii only became part of Polynesia because of how it actually migrated over to the Hawaiian Islands. Because now if you look at the World Atlas, you will find that Hawaii is actually located approximately 18 to 28 degrees north of the equator, which also puts us in the northern Pacific rather than the South Pacific. But because of how they had migrated over to the Hawaiian Islands is how it became a part of Polynesia. How did the Cultural Center, and for some of the Polynesian reviews for these luau's that some of you may attend, they also find them representing Fiji. Although Fiji is not part of the Polynesian race. They're actually part of the Melanesian race. So does everyone know what the word Mela means in the word Melanesia? It has to do with the skin pigment. Okay? They are the dark-skinned people from the South Pacific Islands. We're basically the Melanesians. But because of how Samoa and Tonga would frequently invade Fiji, is how they adapted to the culture of the Polynesians. So that's why they're represented out here. And then everyone knows what the word micro means, right? In the word Micronesia, small. Right? Those are the small islands. So again, you got the Polynesians, the Melanesians, and the Micronesians. We don't have any tribes here no more. So now, as we travel on this side of the mountain range, we now travel on what is referred to as the windward side of the island. See, now this is the side of the mountain range of the island that we tend to receive a greater amount of rainfall and swift gust of winds. So on the opposite side of the mountain range where we just came from, where the city of Honolulu is, Waikiki is, which is the arid of the dry part of the island, is referred to as the leeward district. So on each island, there's a windward district and a leeward district. So now just to set ourselves back into a bit of Hawaii's past, and this is as far as the creation of the Hawaiian Islands. As I mentioned earlier, the Hawaiian people are very spiritual people, and we believe that it was our gods who had created the sky, the space, the earth, and the Hawaiian Islands. So now the Hawaiian people believe it was the god called Wakea who had created the sky, or the space. And from the sky fell the god called Papa, who had created the earth, or if you will, Mother Earth, and the Hawaiian Islands. But again, this is the Hawaiians' theory. As for a geologist who has been studying the birth of the Hawaiian Islands for years, but it's quite interesting on how the legends of the Hawaiians sort of coincide with their theory, which they refer to as the tectonic theory, or the volcanism theory, which they believe had created the Hawaiian Islands. So now geologists believe that through the ocean's floor, geysers took place, and then molten lava burst through the ocean's floor, forming this chain of islands, which they refer to as the Hawaiian chain. Now this chain of islands started from islands like Kure and Midway, which is on the far northwest side of this island. And through this volcanic eruption, it sort of worked its way down towards the southeast. Although scientists actually believe that the Pacific plate that the Hawaiian Islands actually sits on is actually shifting about 2 to 3 inches every year towards the northwest, leaving the hot spot under the big island of Hawaii, where we have our active volcanoes. But now, in reality, the Hawaiian chain is made up of 132 different islands, reefs, and atolls. That makes up the Hawaiian chain. Although the state of Hawaii only accounts for 99% of the larger land areas, and there are only 8 islands in the Hawaiian chain that is considered to be part of the state of Hawaii. And just to point out and to speak a little about each island that makes up our state, and to also give you their nicknames. So the first island that is considered to be part of the state is the island called Ni'ihau, which is ahead of us in the far northwest side of this island. It's nicknamed the private island. No one is permitted on the island unless you had permission by the Robinson family, who owns the island. You see, Elizabeth Sinclair had purchased the island from Kamehameha IV back in the 1860s. Bruce Robinson, who operates the island today, is a descendant of Elizabeth Sinclair. But now there upon the island, they have no running water, there is no electricity, there's no vehicles on the island, and the Hawaiian language spoken fluently. See, majority of all the families residing there happens to be full-blooded Hawaiians who are also employed by the Robinson family. But again, it is Bruce Robinson who operates the island today. So now the other 7 islands is located southeast off of the island of Ni'ihau. The next island you would come up to be the island called Kauai. It's nicknamed the Garden Isle. It is also considered to be the 4th largest island in the Hawaiian chain. There upon the island, we house one of the wettest spots in the world, which is Mount Waialeale, where we receive approximately 500 inches of rainfall in that mountain. Traveling further southeast, we've got this island, the island of Oahu. It's nicknamed the Gathering Place. It is also considered to be the 3rd largest island in the Hawaiian chain. And here upon the island, we house approximately 80% of our state's population. And our state population is a little over 1.3 million people that resides in the state of Hawaii. Here on this island, we house over 900,000 people. Driving further southeast, we got the island called Molokai. It's nicknamed the Friendly Isle. There is not much to see upon the island except probably for the settlement with the people with the leprosy disease, or what is today now called the Hansen's disease. Does anyone know what the disease does to you, leprosy? Well, it rots your skin, and then they start to rot your flesh. So now you start to lose your fingers, your hands, your toes, your feet, your ears, your nose, your eyes. Imagine this, family. Here, back in the 1860s, if you were infected with this leprosy disease, which many were apparently, it was a very contagious disease. What they would have done to you is place you on this barge, sail that barge about a mile off the island of Molokai, and then toss you off. And if you could swim to the island, that is where you could reside, because they had no cure for this disease. And even till this day, there's still no cure for leprosy. There is medication now that can control it. But because here, back in the 1860s, they had no medication, those people were confined to the island. Today, they are no longer confined, again, because there's medication, although you can still find the settlement there in Kalaupapa. And to also add that Hawaii was only one of 2 states in the United States that would house a leper colony. Would anyone know the other state? Louisiana. They closed down now several years ago. After the last of the original lepers passes on Molokai, they still got about 11 patients that resides out there, along with the staff. And after those 11 patients passes away, they're gonna close it. It's already considered to be a national park. And then traveling from the southeast, we got the island called Maui. It's nicknamed the Valley Isle. It is also considered to be the second largest island in the Hawaiian chain. So there upon the island is where we house one of our high mountain peaks in our state, which is Mount Haleakala, which in English meaning the house of the sun, which rises approximately 10,000 feet above sea level. It is also the island that we house the district called Lahaina. Lahaina was known for its whaling industry back in the 1850s, 1860s. Although today, whaling is no longer being done, during the months of February, March, and April, off the shores of Lahaina is where you would find a lot of the humpback whales. And I'm sure a lot of you heard about the Lahaina fires there in Maui. And this is why they want to rebuild Lahaina, because Lahaina was actually the original capital. Well before they moved it here, Lahaina was the original capital for the Hawaiian Islands, and during the whaling boom. But because of all these trading ships coming in, and we here in Honolulu we have the natural deep draft harbor, is why they moved it here, the capital. That's why they want to rebuild Lahaina. And then driving across the island of Maui, this is the island called Lanai. It's nicknamed the Pineapple Island. See, now majority of all the pineapples that we actually grew and exported out of the islands actually grew there on the island of Lanai. Although several years ago, billionaire Larry Ellison had purchased 95% of the island. So now this is why the pineapple industry, if you haven't noticed, is slowly dying. The only pineapple company that we have here now is Doe. And they got fields on the far northwest side of this island, but there's not much pineapple fields. A lot of it shut down on Lanai. This is why the pineapple industry is slowly dying. And then traveling further southeast, we've got the island referred to as Kaho'olawe. It's nicknamed the Target Island, as for the military have been using the island as a target for about 50 years. Although the bombing have stopped since 1992, and today, here you're going to find we have a lot of these wine organizations and activist groups, and these organizations and activist groups are also fighting the government for the return of a lot of the lands that were wrongfully taken away from the Hawaiian people. And the island of Kaho'olawe was one that we've been fighting for years. And we finally got to return back to the state, although the federal government have already spent over $400 million cleaning up the unexploded ordnance that will be some done over the years, as they have promised to return the island to the state in the condition they received it. And that is yet to be seen, because apparently they've already ran out of funds as far as the cleanup. And then traveling from the southeast, we've got the island that carries our state's name, and an island that is still growing today, which is referred to as the Big Island of Hawaii, or some also referred to as the Orchid Isle. But before I get into that, and before I pass it, anyone remember that movie Karate Kid? Yeah. So coming up shortly off to the right, before they built this chapel, this is where they actually filmed it. There's a little coconut grove behind this chapel, where all these coconut trees are. That's where they filmed it. So if you have to see that movie again, you see the mountains off to the left, and then to the far right as we get further up, you see that little island that many call or refer to as Chinaman's Hat. Right here to the right, behind this, before they build this chapel, they filmed it. So again, traveling from the southeast, we got the island that carries our state's name, which is the Big Island of Hawaii, or the Orchid Isle. So now there upon the island is where we house the two highest mountain peaks in our state, which is Mount Mauna Loa and Mount Mauna Kea, which rises over 13,000 feet above sea level. It is also the island that we have our active volcanoes. Over the past 38 years now, the Pu'o'o vents, the Hele Ma'oma'o vents, and the Kilauea vent has been erupting. And the lava flow from those vents has already taken over 180 homes and structures in this path. And that was before the last eruption that took place about 6 years ago, where it took over 500 homes in this town. So, I'm always curious, but by any chance, is there anyone on board who's going to be visiting the Big Island? You going to go to the Big Island? Very good. Anyone else going to the Big Island? Yeah, very good. Well, the reason I ask is because we are still looking for a human sacrifice to satisfy our fire goddess, Madame Pele. Now, ladies, you can relax, okay?